Welcome, everybody, and thanks for rejoining for the second part of the OpenText Gupta Developer Day. And I'd like to introduce Helmut Reimann, our lead solution consultant for the OpenText Gupta product line. And he will be doing the presentation on API enhancements in Team Developer 7.4 now. Helmut, your turn.
Okay, many thanks, Martin. So let's start with our API enhancements session today. At least I want to give you an overview about your new menu, APIs, date picker, printing, notifications, ribbon bar for each loops, continuous statement, copy user-defined variables, and report builder enhancements. Let's start with our API enhancements for the menu. So you can now delete menu entries defined in an outline during runtime by using menu delete. You can pass in the name of the menu or the ID of the menu, and then this menu will be deleted during runtime. Also new scroll enable context menu scroll bar. So you can enable or disable the context menu scroll bar during runtime. And new also menu set status text, get status text if you choose a special menu item, or menu set tip text and get tip text for a menu. For the date picker enhancements, we have now the possibility to get an array and the number of items inside an array if you want to choose different date values picked on a date picker control. That means you can use the control key, you can choose one or more date values, and it fills automatically the array, returns the array, and gives you also the number of selected data item values inside this selected information inside this array. Date picker, date last, sal date month end means you choose a special date inside the data picker control, and you get the last day of the month. Like for February, you get the 28th or 29th of February, and you can pass in or click the given date of a special date which you want to calculate or which you want to choose the end of the month. Also, you can use sal date add days to add special number of days to a special date value. Like you have the 25th of May and you want to add 30 days, then you get automatically the result of this inside, for example, June for the new date value. In the past, you had to calculate something, you had to calculate the days, and you have to create again this day value. Now it's inside really a simple API function. Salcal set selected dates is a counterpart to get the selected dates. That means you can pass in an array of date values, like you select information from a calendar inside a date picker control. Then you can directly use an array and pass this information, the complete array, into the date picker control, and you will see all the days as marked days. Printing enhancements. For the printing, we have now the possibility to send generated PDF files directly to the printer for sal report print to file and sal report print to file X. We have a new system constant. That means you can add print to printer. That means inside the concatenation, you see on the right-hand side the code again. You have the possibility to pass in print to printer. Also, the new value print duplex horizontal or duplex vertical. So you can pass in information to print duplex printing. If the printer doesn't support duplex printing, it is ignored. Sal notify show toast is extended with a new function to pass in an array of text and actions. That means you can use more than one line of information inside the notification, and maybe you want to show the OK, yes, no button or cancel button. So you can pass this information also into the show toast information. And what you can do is now you get this button on a notification. And if you click on OK, your application can track this information and can maybe place you into the right dialog. Like you want to load information by using a background thread into your application, then maybe the background thread sends you some notification show toast with an action show yes or no. And you can display yes, and maybe it opens a dialog and you get all this information, the information of the loaded data and so on. So there's really an interaction between the notification and the application itself. So this is also a nice function, notify clear toasts. Maybe you have a long list of notification inside your queue. You know this, if you are running Outlook, you will see a lot of notifications in the taskbar, and then maybe at the end of the application you want to clear them. So in some application exit event, you can use notify clear toast, and all the toasts will be cleared. So there's no longer a toast from a team developer application inside the list. And that means also you cannot act and click on yes, no, and nothing happens because the process is canceled or the process is gone because you stopped your application. So ribbon at item X has two new parameter. The first one is the image. So you can type in or pass in byte, string, or binary. The buffer contains the image bytes from a Salbig get image or a string containing the file name. Also, you can pass in as a second new parameter the number of the format of the picture. I mentioned last time we have different formats like a format for object, PNG, and so on. So you can give this information also to the ribbon bar by using the right format, or you can choose, for example, a format from file if the first parameter, the string image, contains a file name. The same for style item image X. This is the same as a previous function. So you can pass again a picture, a binary, or a string, or maybe also a file name into the ribbon bar. And of course, you have to type in and you have to pass in also the format of this picture. And you can use pick at image, or you can choose pick format from file if the string image bytes contains a file name. Inside the class, if you choose a class like a table window class, a grid window class, MDI window class, so you can use also added ribbon bar enable attribute. So at this point, we have an additional attribute for these classes, base classes, and also the ribbon bar now follows the model used by menu bars. The new menu bar used by a form at runtime is the first non-empty menu found when searching up the inheritance tree. For each loops, this is a long story. We have this feature very long on our list. Now you can use inside your coding for each variable in variable array. This array can also be in UDV. And also we have added for each variable in array using a specified index. So two types of using for each loops. And also you can use different UDVs. You can pass through UDVs, you can step through UDVs. And for example, if you want to have a special index used, you can use also the using keyword to extend this for each loop with an index. One hint, you can specify the array maybe at the start time of your application, maybe by using a special class variable to fill an array of objects, UDV, and so on. But the variable itself or the index should be declared as a local variable in the calling function. The continue statement can be used inside the while, the loop, or for each statement. That means, for example, in our code, that we have a for each variable or for each loop inside our UDV, inside our code. And then we have maybe a condition, a special value is set to true, and I want to continue. That means I go to the next iteration of the loop, and the following code is skipped. This is very useful, but at least it does not increment loop variables. So if you want to step through an array and you need to update the index, then you have to use first, for example, an index ++, and then do the continuous statement to get the next value for the index. Bulk object copy means you can create a new object and you want to do a copy of this UDV. So you can use simply bulk object copy. You have to pass in the original instance of this UDV, and the second parameter is the copy. But it should be of the same type as of functional class as original. So it's not possible if you have different object types, if you have different instance variable and so on, to copy this, but it must be of the same base class or the same functional class inside your code. We will see it later on in the sample. Report builder enhancements. Now we are supporting up to 16 break groups. We have conditional display for pictures. Also the PNG image transparency is now honored in the reports, and we check the EXIF data. So, for example, for landscape and portrait, for the image or rotations on the image, view like landscape and portrait. And now I want to go through a demo. I collected some applications, and we can see what's going on inside our application itself. Share. Okay, here we go. Let's start first at all with the continue statement. I open the source code, and you will see we have a loop file inside, and pretty simple in a special condition. We have a for each loop. We have maybe a set, and we have an internal key, an internal loop, and we check if a special end key is equal to 2, and then we do a continue. That means we don't want to display the instance of the end key 2 inside our list box, and then we calculate the date, do something, and so on. So if we have this set to true, then we want to continue, so we want to skip the following 3 lines of code. If you run this application, you can see I click on loop, and key number 2 is missing. If we change this to maybe 1, of course, then 21, only 1, then number 1 should not be inside the loop. Here we go. So the next lines of code are skipped if the end key is set to equal to 1. Let's go to another nice application, copy objects. I have to explain a little bit more. Copy objects. I have a class, a base class called class company with some instance variables, and also I have a insert function, gets a company by ID, and I get the original information set to different data fields. If we look into this area, I create a new company based on the class company, and I do a bulk copy. I get all this information into the copy, and I pass back this information from the copy into the copy fields. So at least we have our class company, this is a company copy, equal object null. That means I have only a placeholder. I call it placeholder in the active coding assistant so I can code with this object copy company, but it's really empty. I create a new instance during runtime by using the new keyword. So if I run this application, I can choose, for example, 101 and do a copy of the object. So I go to the database, I get all this information in the original object. I do a copy of the object. This is over here. Let me scroll a little bit down over here. And then, of course, I can pass this information, the copy information, into the copy data fields, I can change them, and maybe I can do an insert, and I get a new company with base information from the original company, maybe new phone numbers, or maybe a new corporate URL, or maybe new address information. Let's have also a look into our toast sample. So the toast sample in this case is done during runtime or development time. I can have a second line, type something in, the third line, type something in. I can choose now different buttons, close, and so on. I can do show toast. And you will see there is my notification. I can click on OK. I can track this information inside my application. So my events are notified toast, gives me some information like the toast ID and which action was clicked. So I can track this information, and maybe I want to open another another dialog to show the data if this notification was sent from a special, maybe special background thread, or a mail is coming in and so on. If I look into my application, if this application is registered, I can do the same inside my application. So it's my start menu. I want to see says yes, no, and maybe the close. I can show toast. And also I get this information, if you can see on the right-hand side, and if I click on no, my application tracks also the no information inside my application. This is now my part of my information about my API extensions. So if you have any question, please let me know.
Yes, Helmut, there's a question. So the question is, can we copy from a local variable into a receive parameter using zal object copy? I'm not sure if you ever tried.
Yes, this is a local variable, so it must be on the same class. So if you create maybe a constant of the same class like a user UDV locally, then you can, of course, copy this local information into maybe a second instance of this object. In my case, I have only a placeholder that is created globally, and then I can copy it into the variable, or into the UDV variable. But it must be a UDV.
Yeah. I think that the main thing is that it's the same class definition.
Exactly. It must be the same class definition. Yes.